witches. Welcome to week 11
of the Beginner Witch series.
Tonight we are doing pre-spell work and what goes into everything before you commit to actions of doing a spell. See you in a minute.
Hi everyone, good to
Hi.
see you. Welcome back. Do you want me to read your first paragraph to get us started? Because I can. I'm going to start.
Okay.
She's
so much better at starting with the reading thing.
All right. So spell work draws a lot of people to witchcraft because there is a belief that if we gather a few items, say a few clever words, we can have all we desire. If it really was that easy, the world would be a very different place. Imagine people being able to instantly get results with a few herbs and words. Chaos would surely ensue.
Okay, so just stopping there. What do you guys think about that? Witchcraft is not supposed to be instantaneous, automatic. It's not a Walmart shelf that you grab something off of and like, that's it. You check out and it's like a 5-minute transaction. Like witchcraft and the spell crafting takes some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure you guys aren't surprised by that, but it's surprising how many people buy into the idea that if you just
they buy into the Hollywood idea. You see it in a movie.
Yes.
So, and you see how, whatever. The Craft, I know the movie, but I didn't really watch it. And I'm sure they I don't know. I remember a scene where they're like,
her watch that.
Yeah, I remember a scene where they're like stirring up a big wind or something. That's not probably going to happen. It could, but
there's a different way to go about it. That's all. Anyway, it's the thing that nobody talks about.
Okay. The words, the magical items, and all the candles and sage you could ever acquire won't actually help you get the results you're looking for. We say this a lot, and we are saying it again. The power is in the witch.
Yes.
That's
right.
you.
Write it down. And it's every single person. You do not have to claim to be a witch to have that power.
That's true.
The power that we're going to talk about tonight and what power spells has nothing to do with what we call ourselves. It's something totally different.
The hardest thing about spell work is raising your energy. Okay, I'm going to slow down with this one because this is really important.
This is the point.
This is
spell work.
This is the point, because if you've ever done spells and they haven't worked and you're wondering, what did I do wrong? Here's your answer, or could be. The hardest thing about spell work is raising your energy to match that of what you're looking for. Plain and simple, spell work is energy work. And the power lies in you.
So in all of the methods out there that really concentrate on energy work, there's a plethora of people trying to tap into energies, and they don't call themselves witches. They say they say other things. So it isn't about the title, but it's about what we do and the practices that we have. This is where you'll start to see everything run together, which is what I love. It's just confirmation that even if we have different labels for the things, because we're more comfortable with saying we're witches, which means that's wise women from the old country. I love that title way more than something else, right? So that's what I associate with. You can have no label whatsoever and still do these practices and get results. I just want to make that very clear, that just because somebody calls themselves a witch does not mean that they do the things that bring forth change and that they harness their own power and that they do energy work. If you don't call yourself a witch, you have access to this power no matter what. Just to throw out a crazy little bubble if anybody ever wants to go down a rabbit hole, but quantum physics is where it's going to prove how all of this stuff that we've been doing forever, that we finally have names for, right? Because we're understanding science and how that connects to witchcraft. That's what this all starts getting back to, is like understanding the energy of our world and the energetic systems that we live in, that we're a part of physically. I know that was a lot, sorry.
So rituals are how we get ready for spell work. In short, a ritual is really just a habit of doing things on purpose. Originally, ritual was a religious term. Before that, it was used as rite, R-I-T-E, like the rite of passage, meant to count or observe fully. The word ritual may feel like a heavy responsibility to be very serious, focused, and tuned in.
I think that most people I've talked to connect with this thing. When they hear ritual, it's instantly like, oh, this is like a heavy, serious thing, like very,
we do that in church, rituals used a lot in church. Like I grew up Catholic, so there's a lot of rituals around the Catholic religion.
The religious sector took on the word ritual in the 1400s. And so that's all we've really known it for, to be anything that was ritualistic. Even now in like Webster, it means a religious order or observance. And I'm like, yeah, I was never really comfortable with the word ritual when I first started, because I thought, that ritual kind of meant rules. It meant to observe the rules of a proceeding, of something that you're doing. So now, as we get into, etymology, where you can find out the meaning of words and really understanding where it comes from. So when you use the word rite or ritual now, it's actually more like if you were walking outside of your door and as you went down your stairs, you counted them and you were very intentional about not missing a stair. That's more about you're fully present in what you're doing physically, in the act of what you're doing, rather than having some kind of religious observance. So that's the big difference. It just meant like a rule or being fully there and present in the moment. And it's probably so that mistakes didn't happen. People used to do workings out in the woods, where I'm sure forest fires were still a thing way back when we were having bonfires. There needed to be like fire safety and control. And so you had to be very intentional about where you were putting things or where you placed it or how far the fire grew or whatever. So when I think about ritual now, I'm much more open to the word, only because I understand it more now. And as you grow your like spiritual language and all the words that you use within your practice, I encourage you to look up like the old definitions or the root words of these things so that you can become more okay with it. Like I became like okay with using the word ritual. As you look stuff up and you use it, just know that the word that you're using is like what makes sense for you. That's like using the word witch and knowing that it means wise woman or medicine woman or healer.
So here's some examples of rituals.
Examples, yes.
Casting a circle,
Mm-hmm.
taking a couple of minutes to set an intention while stirring tea,
Mm-hmm.
monthly saging of your spaces. Rituals can be made by anyone and performed by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
When you read about sacred rituals, just know that it's an opinion that the ritual is considered sacred.
Yeah.
Remember, keep what fits and discard the rest.
Yeah.
The purpose of a ritual is to change or acknowledge how you feel in the moment.
So when we, especially casting a circle, like you don't hear people say that there's the ritual of casting a circle. It's like you have a ritual and then you cast a circle. And so normally when I use the word ritual, I'm talking about what I do now I'm in my spell work stuff where I've got my things together and I'm really setting the intention and envisioning my outcome and being in that space with it. The ritual part for me, as an example, I think we're at this, yes?
Yep.
Okay. If anybody watched my moon, what was it? The full moon, making moon water video.
Making moon water.
I kind of talk about my ritual. It's very simple, but it's something that I do every single time. And I've been doing it for so long that I can go through it pretty fast because it doesn't take me long at all to immediately connect with my team of light, like the energy there, and to know what I'm doing and just to be in my space and like have my intention come very quickly and know what I want. And that's just from a lot of practice. It was not always that easy. And sometimes I go out to do stuff and I can't ever get in the mood. I'm like, F it, I'm done. I can't, like, it's not working tonight. I can't let go of the fight that I had with my kid or some crap like that. So when I do my ritual, it always starts for me. And it's just preference. Like nobody told me to do this. It's just what I grew to do that I liked. I always light a candle because the candle represents me inviting in my team of light. So you can see the connection there, right? I bring light to the space. It's them entering and illuminating everything for me. So that's how they know that I'm ready to work with them and like receive messages. And this is especially true when I do tarot readings for people. A lot of times I already have things set up. They don't see what I go through because I really need to like be and connect while I'm alone. So that's why I'm a solitary witch. It's much easier for me to do stuff when I'm alone. But I light the candle and I say in my head very quickly, like, I ask my team of light to be here, to help bring me any messages that I need, to show me the way, to like bring things forth, whatever it is. And I just leave that open, the connection to receive or interpret anything that just comes to my head. And what I think of once that ritual has started is that as things pop into my head, I'm like, that's not me. That's not human Jayme's brain. That is my team of light sending me something like connections. Or, when I was flipping through the book and the candles were going all crazy and it made me think of the Phoenix. And I'm like, man, so that totally fits with Scorpio. This is during the full moon water. So, or the eclipse water, I think it was. But it's as I go through those things, my ritual becomes the same every time, because once you've done it 4 or 5 times, you don't have to think about it as hard. So making a ritual for yourself makes sense, because then it becomes routine. So replacing the word ritual with routine that's what I used to call it anyways. I used to call it my spiritual routine instead of my ritual, I think that's where I was going with all of that.
Oh,
I'm
so-
answering.
So
I'm getting way off track, aren't
So
I?
one of the things we can do, is learn to be present in the moment and not let other thoughts or worries. So like Jayme said, when she sits down and sometimes she can't get there in that headspace where she needs to be,
Yeah.
is because she's got the weight of something
Other
that's
things
going on
going
in her
on.
life, and
Mhm.
she can't clear her head. So that's an important part of getting ready to remember, this is pre-spell work. So this is all the things we're
Yeah.
going to do before we do a spell.
And that's where the energy level comes in, right? I mean, you guys, I'm sure you can imagine a situation where you feel really kind of wiped out because you did have a disagreement with somebody and you kind of can't get it off your brain. You can't shake that thing until you've worked it out. Imagine trying to go in and do a spell where half the time you're thinking about how you're going to solve the problem with this person, that you're just not able to bring your energy level up in such a clear and purposeful way because all the other little thoughts come in. So I think this is kind of where I think about meditation, and I've done meditation on and off for a lot of years. Sometimes I really need it more because I'm dealing with more. So I have to keep practicing quieting my mind. And sometimes I don't meditate for like years. I swear when I was in college, I don't think I meditated at all. I was way too busy and too stressed. I was like, I can't not stop all my thoughts. It was too much. So I just let that go, that expectation on myself to be able to clear my mind. Did I do spells during that time? Nope, not really. I didn't do anything. I did cleansings for myself and just things that felt good, but not truly spells for anything. So visualization is also, it's very helpful to practice visualization to bring your energy level up. If you have ever thought about a movie that you absolutely love, or like a scene that makes you feel really emotional, think of one. Think of like, what's a movie or a scene? And you just got done watching Sons of Anarchy. No, you can't. She just watched Sons of Anarchy.
I just watched the last two episodes of Sons of Anarchy. If anybody knows it, when Jax dies and stuff, I literally cried through almost the whole thing, and I had to remind myself, Jax Teller is not a real person. So, but I have been invested in it for such a long time, and I couldn't stop watching it, even though I was like, why am I watching all this violence? But I just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Now that that's done, I packed it away and said, never again, never watching that again. But anyway, the point is
something more like maybe The Notebook. Right. I love Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves ever since Speed. I'm from the 80s. So Speed was like right when I was.
I thought that was.
Oh no,
that was
the Lake House. I'm sorry, the Lake House.
I thought that was Ryan.
Ryan, that's the wrong name. I
love that movie.
I don't know. They're so similar to me. But the Lake House, which I recently watched, and it's just that feeling of anxiety when they're like about to meet, or they won't meet, or he could die, and it brings up all this emotion in you, and you're just stuck on the screen. You're like, oh my gosh, like the edge of your seat kind of feeling. Your energy at that time is so raised and so focused. When you get into pre-spell work, when you're getting ready for trying to commit to bringing about a change energetically, that's almost where you want to be. It's like you can think of nothing else. You're totally focused in, like it's all you can see in that moment. And so with visualization, the whole point to this was, if you can picture your outcome, so the movie of your life, and seeing that outcome play out for you over and over and over again in your head, and then you feel the emotions of that outcome, like winning the lottery. Imagine what that would feel like. A lot of people think instantly, they're like, I'd be so happy. Not actually true. I've had a lot of people tell me that they would be afraid to win the lottery, or that they wouldn't feel like they deserved it. They wouldn't know how to handle it. Then they'd be responsible for a lot of the money. So then what? And they just felt like, it's not for me. I don't want the responsibility of winning several $1 million or whatever.
2 billion. Our lotteries have been really big lately.
Yeah. So really be honest with yourself as you do your work, especially for things, this is why it's pre-spell work, because we're going to ask some questions about, do you really believe that you can have the thing you're asking for? Do you truly believe that that thing can be yours? Or do you have, this gets into the shadow work of it, but do you have negative self-talk that's like, I'll never be good enough. I'll never find anybody. There's nobody meant for me. I'm going to be alone, or whatever the thoughts are. Those are my thoughts, by the way. That's not projecting for anybody else. After I had my son and left his father, I was like, I'm just going to be alone forever. I'll have cats. I'll have a cat farm. I don't care. I'll have plants and cats and I'll be totally fine. Like, I don't need the drama of a relationship. And then I met my husband. So it's kind of like, I like the saying, I don't know where it comes from, but if you tell God your plan, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans or something like that. And I don't know if that's religious or not. I lived in the South for a while and that was the thing that people said. And that's how I felt when I was like, I swore off relationships and everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, you can't be alone. This is terrible. I'm like, no, I'm totally fine. And the moment that happens, I end up, my sister introduces me to somebody who then later becomes my husband. So I guess it worked for me and I wasn't planning it. Like I'm still shocked at my life sometimes. Like I'm married and have a house and like I'm settled and I'm never moving again. I unpacked all my boxes for like the last time. I packed up when I was 18 and left and I always had boxes packed. I never unpacked fully ever. Now I finally have, and it's like, whoa.
Wait, she did something really big in the last year. She hung pictures.
I did. Pictures on the wall.
That's a sign of I'm staying.
I never had pictures on the wall.
Ritual actions allow us to get out of our human bodies and tap into our head energy. Energy space or energy vibration.
All that.
We quiet the outside world and thoughts, and we give our ingredients meaning and significance. Remember, most spell work is not trying to manipulate physical items. We are trying to we're not trying to make things float or catch fire or fly.
I love this. It's not Harry Potter. I promise you, that's not truly what spell work is.
We are manipulating energy that brings forth a physical change.
Yes.
So do you want to?
No, I was just going to say, again, referring to, if you look into quantum physics, it will absolutely blow your mind. But
Joe Dispenza, well, there's a lot. Joe Dispenza does a lot with that.
It's all science. It's not science because actually they're astonished by the things they find all the time and they can't explain them. So it's becoming a science because they're able to we've invented enough equipment to see things like, I tell people this all the time. There is a machine that can track thought waves, right? Like microwaves can be tracked. All right. Oh, quick nerdy tip, you guys. I'm sorry, I have to. When the microwave was found and harnessed, they didn't really know what it did. I love that. They just like sent it out into the battlefield, hoping to become invisible to other people's radar. That's what microwaves were first used for. And a guy out there in the field had a candy bar melt in his pocket. And they were like, what's that about? So they realized that the microwave actually vibrates at a very high speed, anything with liquid in it. That is how our food is heated. There's not actually some kind of radiation. There's nothing like that. It vibrates liquid and that's what heats it. So
I never knew that.
Just saying. So thought waves, which are actually an energy wave that we can now track with machines that we're building and stuff. So that was the whole point to that, which is pretty cool. So there you go.
So, what are your whys? So my next part here is, what are your whys? What do you want to bring into or take out of your life? And why are you doing this spell? These are things you need to know before this is your pre-spell work. Like, why do I want this? So that
has to do with your intention, right? Like having a very strong intention of what you're really looking for.
I had a really strong intention.
Oh man. So here's Kat's spell that, we have a lot of people like, oh, what spells worked and what didn't? Oh, okay. How about when you get exactly what you asked for and it's way more than you bargained for?
Yeah. So I put together a spell because I really thought I was ready for somebody in my life. And I mean, I can't remember all the things that were in it, but I do remember one thing that I put in it when that was, you know how your panties will have a little ribbon on the front, like a little tied ribbon, a little bow, right? So I took that off and I put that was part of my spell, indicating, I wanted some passion, some love, some,
passion.
Yeah.
We're going to go.
So not long after that, I can't remember how long it was, but it might've been 2 months or something like that. I really don't recall because I wasn't keeping track, but anyways, I meet this guy, right? And he was like, he was super nice and we really hit it off well.
They looked so cute together too. They were all, living in Florida, we have lots of outside fires at places we go. And the two of them, first off, my mom is not super touchy-feely with anybody right away, right? She's a Scorpio and it's like hot or cold. You got to prove some stuff first before she gets close. And they were sitting in the fire like this, talking like, and like whispering to each other around a fire at night in Florida. It was so cute. I was crazy enough to be like, I'm taking a stalker photo of this. Like, I want to, she didn't know I was on the other side of the fire. I'm like secretly taking a photo of her and this guy. It was great. And he was so nice.
So he was here. His father was sick. He lived in Texas, and he was here for like a week to take care of his dad. Then his dad passed over the course of that weekend. I met him on like a Friday night. I think his dad passed on Sunday.
Yeah.
And of course, that was really, that was one thing. But what happened right after that is when he went back home, he wanted me to come to Dallas like the next weekend. I was like,
he was all about her.
I was like, yeah. So, I mean, he was ready to move really, really fast. And I like backed way up. I was like, oh God, no. So be careful what you ask for.
Wow.
Or get really specific about what you want. Because maybe when I put that lace little ribbon in there or whatever from my
passion,
it really stirred something up. But yeah, so that happened. So that's like, but I really did. I thought I wanted it until I got it. And then I was like, then I backed off kind of scared. I was like, okay, so this works. So I really need to rethink, like, what do I actually want here? Spell work is energy work, your energy and how you feel. Like I was really feeling it, y'all. I was really feeling it.
Yeah. So I need to give you guys a little bit more background, because she was going out on dates and they were all flops. And these guys were, it's crazy to see men that are like, 55, 60 years old. And I know this is judgmental, but they're kind of losers. I'm like, what have you done with your life? I don't know. And my mom's not, like, she's been hot shit for a long time. And she's been on her own and taking care of herself. So she's a strong, independent woman. And she's getting with these guys that, are barely retired, sitting around their pool every day, doing nothing but drinking beer. It's like, that's.
Oh yeah, there was that one guy. That was his whole aspiration in life. He's like, I'm just gonna sit by the pool and drink beer for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And you're like,
there was no ambition there. There was 52? Like nothing going on. So that's why with the spell delivering this great guy, I was super excited, because he, was a career guy. He had lots of stuff going for him. He traveled. I felt like he could add a lot to her life, but
he was in Texas and I'm in Florida and I wasn't moving.
That could have been the space she needed, right? But he was like ready to fly her anywhere, everywhere to see her again.
And then he got upset when I didn't want to go, and then he didn't talk to me after
she hurt his feelings, because she went from hot to cold very fast, as Scorpios can do sometimes. That's what really happened. And if he ever sees this video, dude, I'm sorry, please call again. I think it was a good match. Like, I hope he finds us somehow.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't remember his name now, but he was so nice.
I can't remember his name either. It was so embarrassing. In a minute, so start thinking and put into the chat. We're gonna dissect a spell. We have some spell books here. So one of the things we're gonna do right here in our meetup tonight is we have lots of spell work. I don't know how many spell books you've bought. I probably at least have 10. I mean, if you want to do a spell soon, what would you want to bring into your life? So give us some ideas, and we're gonna find one, and then we're gonna talk through it.
Yeah.
Because the next section that we're gonna talk about, after I just reiterate that spell work is energy work, and how you feel are the most powerful and transformative parts of the spell. That's why we feed it, give it energy, thoughts times word. This is in line. Spell work is in line with the law of attraction and manifestation.
Yes.
You are tuning into yourself. Money is a good one. Everybody, prosperity.
Yeah.
Prosperity is
always doing prosperity spells.
But you can go to, as a new witch, you're probably, I don't know if you're anything like I was, or am, or was, I should say was, because not anymore. I wouldn't do it like that. But you go find a spell, and you'll see spells. Like, here's a spell. Spells will come out. They'll be all over Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. Like, here's a spell for such and such, and you can bring love into your life with this, and it gives you the things to do. But the problem, the problem comes with. So let's pick one. So I see another financial one.
I do want to address something really quick that I see from the chat. There's two that are sort of about kids, and I want to give you guys a soul message that is not easy to hear. It is not easy to hear, but the more that you can accept this for yourself, the less it will hurt you when your kids are not living up to the standard that you would probably want them to live up to, or at least even, like, I don't know, surviving. I don't know how bad the situation is, and you guys don't have to get into specifics, but one thing that's really hard to remember when we have children is that they are here with their own spiritual journeys, and we really do need tough times in order to shape us into the humans we become later. I'm glad that I went through a lot of BS early on in my life, because it made me very strong and know exactly what I do and don't want. Even my bad relationships, I wouldn't take any of that away, because it's given me a knowledge today that I can stand with. It's been like, I know how to deal with things now.
Oh, bless you. I'm so sorry. Excuse me.
So for things with children, one of the best mantras or affirmations that you can really look for, and that you can tell yourself, repeat it to yourself. The only thing you need to do is love them and listen. Okay. They don't need advice all the time. They don't need the bickering. They don't need the things, but they need to feel loved, because most of the time that's where the deficiency lies, is like, they don't feel loved by the world. It's not even you. It's not you. You didn't do it. They're dealing with their own stuff. Like, they came here with their own karmic debts. And it's really hard to accept that, because we're like, we raised them. Damn it. We should know everything about them. We should know what they're dealing with. We should be able to help them, right? Because we like help them build their lives. But they're their own souls on their own paths. So we don't get to dictate what they go through, you know, even in cases of suicide, even in cases of early deaths, we don't get to dictate what they came here to do and go through. And we don't get to know it, which is the really hard part as a parent. It's extremely hard. I've dealt with several circumstances, a child overdose and a child killed. So in these things, the best advice is just that remind yourself that it's not your fault, that you didn't choose this for them, that when we come here, we choose our own lives, and that we don't ever actually die. We don't leave. We don't go off into oblivion, never to see each other again, that our energies do reconvene. So try to find comfort in that first, as your kids are. Mine is annoying the hell out of me. So he's 17 and just knows everything. Of course, you know, I'm dumb, right? I know nothing. I'm old and dumb. Got it. Thank you, kid. So it's, you know,
And
that's
you know,
where
his grandmother and her mother kind of pisses me off. I'm like, but what can I say? I was the same way when I was 16.
I have to have a mantra with dealing with him, and I have to remove myself from his presence as well. I have to be the stronger one, because, you know, he is at that precipice of like adult child still. And I have only control over myself, just like you have control only over yourself and not what anybody else does. So I just wanted to get the children thing out, because it's really important to me that we don't make more scars on people when we're trying to help them, because often when you really want to help somebody, you end up going too far to help them and stepping in way too much, and you end up causing a scar. So that is that. What did we decide on? Sorry, I went off, and now there's like, I went the wrong way with messages.
I don't know. I think finance, you know, prosperity,
Or
you
prosperity.
know, I guess I would add one other thing too. If you're having trouble with anybody, not just a kid.
Okay.
And I would, what I would do is look at how I could try to, you know, the things that I could do to like calm myself from the anxiety and things of it at all, because you really can't control other people.
No.
And even your own children, you know, we were just talking about this the other day, how it's amazing to me how just this little bit of time that we get them before they start moving away from us and toward adulthood and independence. It's not, gosh, it's so short. You just don't even know that that's going to happen. You think, oh, I'm going to have this kid till they're 18. No, because about age 12, by age 12, they're definitely like, I'm grown now. I just want to be out on my own. That was me. And that was my youngest daughter. You know, I can make all my own decisions, and they think they know everything, and it's their journey. And if they get into bad things, bad situations, make bad choices, it's not a reflection of
Don't feel
parenting.
guilty about it. Yeah.
So if you're struggling with kids, I would say some work for yourself to just lessen the anxiety. And then always, if you can approach any situation with another person with grace and kindness, you know, that's always,
it's really tough.
It's healing for you, it's healing for them. And it's just, you're putting a better energy out into the world, and that's just going to be more helpful. So can we pick a spell?
Yes. There were a couple people that said freezer spells. Just really quick on that, you guys, this is a totally new age thing. I love it. Remember, freezers were not invented until like the last, I don't know, a couple hundred years. I don't know when.
Not even that long.
There were ice boxes, there was ice, there was snow. So I just want you to remember things like that. But I think the whole point of creating a freezer spell, which is ingenious, it's great, is to try to stop actions. And when we're trying to stop actions of other people, what you really want for yourself is to not be affected by it, to not hurt by it, to not judge it and think that it's wrong. So you have to, again, this is you removing yourself from the situation and going like, it's not my circus, that's not my monkey. I can't control that. I don't have that ability and I don't get a say so in it. But what you can say, here's the energy that you can push towards people going through really tough times. Give them a sign to get their life on the path that it's meant to be. This takes away you guiding their life into something that might not be for them and thinking that they need this correct path, this right thing to be altered. But it gives you at least the ability to send them energy that is more about helping them find their right path. And if their right path is really to go down a very, very bad road, they need to come here and learn that lesson. And since we don't know and we can't, like, we don't get to decide, we'd rather it just all be kosher and wonderful and beautiful and happy lives.
Easy.
We don't learn anything from happiness. We have to experience the bad shit in order to learn why we love happiness, why we try hard to resolve our problems, why we continue to strive to do better for ourselves, for our children, for the next generation.
Appreciation,
It's
gratitude.
It's really hard to know gratitude if you've never suffered. Like, it's very hard to understand that when you don't know what the other end looks like. So instead of freezer spells, I usually just say, like, I hope that they get a sign to put them on the right path, whatever that means. Because now I'm not asking the universe to judge it. I'm not putting the thing on them and saying like they need to be on the right path. No, they don't need to be on a right path. They just need to be on their path, something to lead them to their path. If they're not on their right life path, that's what I hope for people, you know. And oh man, I don't know. This just makes me think about people really trying to legally get their kids back. I've had a couple mothers, they're like, I need a spell to get my kids back. I'm like, I don't know you well enough to be like, your kids deserve to be with you. And I can't say that, right? Like, how messed up is that? I'm like, all right, well, let's not do a spell for that. Let's say your kids should end up where they're going to be the safest and the most loved. That's a really good thing to do a spell for. You're turning the situation around to be something more positive and in the best interest of the kids, not in the best interest of yourself.
And anytime we try to control somebody else, I mean, it's
or
like
the outcome for somebody else.
like,
I don't know.
like I didn't do a love spell. What I did was like bring love to me, bring somebody into my life for a passion, but I would not try to make somebody fall in love. I mean, I've had a guy break my heart. That's why I'm here. That's why I ended up moving to Florida. So I moved to Florida because he broke my heart and left me for somebody else. And you know, if I at the time I didn't know anything about witchcraft, but you know, and under those circumstances, it's almost tempting to try to control other people, but you can't. And sometimes what happens, the result of that ends up being worse than what you're going through. So, all right. Well,
okay.
It's 7:39, so we need to pick a spell because I wanted to go through using other people's spell and practicing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pick a spell topic and go through a spell to find what's missing. We're going to pick a spell.
Okay, but I didn't bring that new witches spell book that we used.
I see you, Jacqueline's little kid there. Let's see, reference books and using spells written by others and how to make them your own. Okay. All right. So you want to,
we were going to do a money one, but I don't have a book that has a money spell in it at the moment. I mean, I can tell you guys my spells.
I mean, I know that I do.
Yeah.
I just organized all of my books.
And if you guys want more on this sort of thing, when we first did the series back in the spring, I'm trying to go through and edit them and link them all together, but they're in a playlist on YouTube. We did like 4 weeks. We did 2 on pre-spell work and then we did 2 on spell work. I'm like, holy crap, we talked for 4 meetings about spell work. I was like, whoa, that seems excessive. But I went back and listened to it. I was like, oh man, pre-spell work 1 was actually really good because we had people in the chat like we're doing now choose a spell topic, and then we found a book and we're like, let's read through it and analyze it. Like, how is it not helpful, and then how is it really helpful?
Oh,
So we wanted to do this with the same because that worked out so well last time.
Yeah,
because this is how we get our spells, right? Like,
so here's the book that we're gonna, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Here's the book that we're going to look through. It's one of the ones that I bought very early on.
Yeah, and I like this book. I like it.
And it has spells organized by types, like you know, money matters, work and career, romantic love, you know, friends and family, health and well-being, protection and forgiveness. So
Abundance and success.
Yeah,
Okay.
abundance and success. So it's organized like that, and then it gives you the spells, but I'll wait till Jayme gets to one so that we can kind of dissect what's going on with it, because if you haven't bought a spell book yet or use somebody else's spell,
I like
you
this,
might be
215.
tempted to do that, and that's fine.
And it's good,
It's
yeah.
great because they're great for
References.
ideas.
They are great for
But a
ideas.
couple of things about what I have found with them is that they'll sometimes have these rare ingredients that you feel like if you don't have that ingredient, you can't do the spell. That's not true.
This is where we build our correspondences, and all you have to do is pick things that mean something to you that you have on hand that do the job. That's the one thing that probably annoys me the most is we call it spiritual materialism, where you're supposed to have like a cupboard full of stuff. It's like, that's not really that necessary. And to expect somebody to, I just feel like it's rude. It's like, yeah, how about we just use things you can get at the normal grocery store, pick from your yard, or like tell people about imagining the outcome and you don't even need a thing. Remember that it's not the spell and stuff, it's how you feel and what you're trying to attract to you. What you think about, you bring about. That's what a spell truly is anyways. Okay, so I'm doing one that is sort of success and prosperity. And in this book, it's called the Success Offering Spell. This offering spell uses the energy of the noon sun and the earth soil. The offering uses success attracting ingredients like a cinnamon stick, fresh ginger, lemon balm, bergamot, and your success sigil, which now you'd have to go to page 208 to build your success sigil, I'm assuming, because that's what it says. So that just made, now you've got another complication. You're going to another page to try to do something else that's probably a first time.
And you're
thing.
also like looking at bergamot or more or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're like, what's that?
Bergamot.
I've never heard of that before. Like, what is that?
It's an orange type thing. It's an orange.
So I could probably use an orange candle or an orange piece of paper
Yeah.
with something on it as substitute.
Like an orange, the fruit is actually, did you know that the color orange got its name from the fruit orange? Okay,
Yeah,
crazy facts.
We were just doing trivia. a couple
Trivia.
years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
So oranges are actually
Oh,
very,
look at that. Light an orange candle.
yeah, orange is for success. It's the color of the sacral chakra. I swear, I feel like I already, I think this was from the first video too. It's similar items. So you'll start to see the correspondences link across the things. Oranges, the color orange, this is success building. This is bringing about. It's from Europe, or it's from Asia, actually. They believe oranges carried with them like gold. But I'm sorry, okay.
Stay on track here.
Yeah, I can't help myself. I only get you guys once a week. It's not there. All right. What you want me to try to go through all
No,
of that?
I was gonna go through and how about
What?
I let you enter? How about I'll read?
I'll riff like I do.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna read really quick and then, well, Jamie's gonna make mental notes about what's wrong with this. So number one, well, first I give you all the ingredients.
Oh, okay.
So one, this is your steps to the spell.
There's only 8 steps.
Cleanse your altar, light an orange candle for attracting success, draw your success sigil on a piece of paper with an orange pen. This will house your offering. On the top of the paper, lay a cinnamon stick, ginger root, and a sprig of lemon balm. Focus on your intentions and fold your paper up in your offering. I want you to pick out the things where it's like, okay, what does that mean exactly? Like here.
No, I know. It's
You know.
already so many things.
Okay, tie a knot around it with an orange string, creating a bundle. Add the bergamot essential oil to the knot. Meditate for 5 minutes on your intentions. Extinguish the candle. Okay, so if you've never ever done a spell before and you read this, are you gonna like read these instructions and then do exactly what it says?
Oh,
Go.
it says continued. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
there's more
okay.
on the
Go
second
outside
page.
and find a north-facing view to bury the bundle in your in step 5. Dig a shallow hole with your hands and place the bundle inside. And here's a little saying. Under the sun's mighty glow, I gift this offering to the earth in exchange for the success you bestow. Fill the hole, place your hand on the earth and meditate for 5 minutes. Feel the energy of the sun and earth enabling you to bring you success. Thank the sun and the earth for the energy before you leave. Okay. If anybody followed those instructions exactly, how much success do you think you would have? Teach. Go.
Oh man. And I'm on. Okay. Number 1, are we doing this at our altar? Like, first off, no. We could do this in lots of different places. There's not a thing that says You have to be at an altar. I do so many of my spells outside because that's where I feel more connected. All right, so cleanse your altar. There's no, okay, cleanse. I'm wiping it down physically. I'm clearing stuff all the way off of it. It needs to be like nothing. It needs to, like, what are we doing there? So it's just very vague, cleanse your altar. So whatever that means to you. And I guess that's okay, right? There's not supposed to be rules for this. I just would like more explanation of ideas of what to do. Like if she gave 3 ideas of cleanse your altar, make sure it's free of dust and debris. You know,
Well, I think
have the things on it that you like. I don't know. Whatever cleansing your altar means. And the assumption that we all have altars, like that's not always
well,
the same.
and like, where have you gotten into your energy? You know, where have you like grounded yourself or just sat and thought about what am I trying to bring into my life?
So I do like the 5 minutes of meditation on your intention. That would be the essence of energy work. This other stuff would be like the ritual before the energy work. So it's not broken down like that. Where during these things, you don't really have to have all of the focus and intention necessarily. You know what you're about to do and you've kind of got your head in the right space. And sometimes you can play like really soft, easy music in the background to keep yourself in tune. I don't know. If you've ever listened to like spa music where you're just supposed to be very relaxed while you listen to it, because it sort of is in the background. It's not making you think about anything. Stuff with words is terrible to use during spells. All right. So then it's, you know, lighting the orange candle, drawing a success sigil. So these are already things that you need to have with an orange pen. Okay. Now everybody needs to have an orange pen. This will house your offering. There's no other explanation necessarily that your offering is the cinnamon stick, the ginger root, a sprig of lemon balm. All right. I do grow lemon balm because bees love it, but ginger root, which you can buy at the store, right? It's just ginger. And a cinnamon stick, which can be bought, like those things should be able to, I don't know about lemon balm. You could buy it dry, but I don't think you can buy it fresh at the store. But you're getting together these things that feel like it's a lot. So you're laying it on the paper and then you're folding it up in the paper and then you're tying it like a little bundle. That's cute. I like the idea of that. What are you thinking of when you're doing that though? Like, are you just trying to fold it correctly? Are you like, oh my God, I'm not good at crafts. Like I've had so many
is
things.
that enough ginger root? A sprig. What's a sprig? I need to look up sprig. I'm not sure how big is that?
3 leaves. You'd like pick off the top.
A cinnamon stick is pretty big.
A cinnamon stick is a pencil size stick, a little shorter. And then a ginger root. Like you're not going to put the whole ginger root in the thing. Like a ginger root is $5 for like a hunk of ginger. So are we hunking all of that together? I don't know.
We're gonna grow a ginger tree.
You put it in the ground, you wait a ginger plant next, which I guess is fine. But I love this where it's like place the clear. What do you place?
I'm on the wrong. Here you're on the wrong page.
Well, I was like, I don't remember them saying quartz. All right, because it was like place the clear quartz. I'm like, we didn't say that.
I was flipping the page.
All right, focusing on your intentions while you fold up the paper. So what that means is like, that's the energy work that it's trying to tell you about. That's another thing that people don't talk about much. What do intentions mean? You're thinking about your end result. Anytime somebody's like, set your intentions, think about what you're trying to bring from this experience.
Well, yeah. So what was the first question that you need to ask yourself when you're going to do a spell? Yeah. What are you trying to bring into your life or what are you trying to get rid of? So that's the first thing before you ever do any of this or look for a spell. What is it that you want? And then the spell can just be you and the moon or the sun or the dirt or whatever, and
your cat,
your thoughts and your thoughts and maybe a candle. All of these things here get you I guess there's symbolic of something, this ritual of doing it, but they're not going to raise the energy vibration without you focusing on it and knowing what you want and knowing what this success offering spell, what you're trying to bring. So I guess that was the important part of this, is that you can read spells, and if you did them, unless you can get your vibration, unless you can get your headspace in there and really concentrate on and believe that you can have it.
Right. So that's what we're doing, right? We're talking about 2 different things. Spell work, when you read it in a book, is all about your physical actions. They rarely talk about where you need to be at in your head, what you should be envisioning. Like they have words that you speak, but how authentic does that feel to you when you speak somebody else's words? Like, does that feel like you just sealed it with your stamp of approval, with your intention? it's why I say that the spell books are great ideas, because then you can take from it and be like, write your own little simple quip, right? Like just something super simple. I think the less complicated, the better, and the more authentic to you that it is, the better. I've told people this before. I have cussed in my spells. I don't find it offensive. It means I'm very passionate about what I effing want. Okay, do it. No. So it's, but it's whatever adds that passion to your spell, because that means your emotions are elevated. They're higher. So when you look at, you guys have probably seen the emotional chart where it's like anger and hate is like way down here and it's a color. And then you go up and it's like gratitude and joy and peace and love. And those are all up here and they have a color. We're normally like here in the middle and we fluctuate a little up, a little down. We're like, oh, look, I made the green light. My emotions went up higher. Oh, look, somebody cut me off. I'm lower again. And this is what we do throughout our day. So if you think about when you're doing a spell, you're trying to maintain this higher level of like in that moment. And the best thing that they could say is visualize you getting the thing that you want, because that's what's going to bring you what? Happiness, resolve. That's what's going to put you in the place where you want to be. So the whole time that you're doing it, you should be picturing that you are already walking into it, that you already have it, that it's already meant for you. It's already right. It's like the next day you wake up and there's your life. The situation that you really wanted is right there waiting for you. And that's why we talk about it has to be believable for you. You can do a spell wanting to win hundreds of millions of dollars, but if you don't believe that you can have that, if you don't believe that it's possible for you, and that takes shadow work to understand, does your desire really match the level of what you think is real? Where does your reality lie in those things? Then if you don't believe it, there's nothing there. It's just speaking the words and burying stuff in your yard. So it's better to think about the energy that you bring with it and what you're really trying to call to yourself, rather than just putting all the things together, wrapping them up.
We have two.
Law of attraction,
Teresa, it is law of
Yeah,
attraction.
it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Manifestation, law of attraction, and spell work. Nobody necessarily always links them together. There are some books that do it, like Mystic Dylan, I think what's that book? I think it's something called Manifestation. It's an orange book. It's adorable. And I think the guy's name is Mystic Dylan, but that it was like Manifestation for Witches or something like that. I was like, yes, somebody's linking them. These things are all linked together. Like quantum physics is also linked in that. When you start looking at what the bases are for creating our own realities, that's what spell work is. We're trying to create our own reality out of energy and bring it forth in a physical manifestation that happens at a later time.
So then if you want success, but you go around then after you do your spell and negate that with either your thoughts or your actions, then what's going to happen to that work that you did? The universe is going to get confused and
right. Well, that was the thing about what you think about, you bring about. So if you are doing a prosperity spell or a success spell or any spell, but you are in a constant state of like feeling like nothing is good, you're lacking everything, it doesn't go your way, your vibration, that is what is going to align with you. Okay, we're going to attract what we feel. We're going to attract what we think about. Everybody's heard my car story. Like I had to stop thinking about car accidents because they started to happen in front of me. Like it was going to be me next. Like, so I had to really get rid of that thought while I was driving, because otherwise I was going to manifest myself right into a freaking accident. So we have to stay on top of what's going on in our head in order to make the spell work and the energy work efficient, because that's what we're in control of. We're in control of our thoughts. Meditations, affirmations, they help us correct this negative thought pattern. When my mom first got here, she was not a witch yet that she knew of. And she had really she had some negative self-talk that she didn't even know she did. And it had to be acknowledged by somebody else for her to know, like, I say that? What? I'm like, yeah, you do. She had to become aware of the things that she was saying or thinking, and then really dig into that and be like, oh my gosh, I never realized I said that kind of a lot. So what's your catchphrase? What do you always have a complaining, thing going on, or somebody even next to you? Oh my gosh. How many people do you know that just constantly bitch about everything? Everything's negative. All they see on the news is bad. The whole world is ending. We're all going to die. The earth's going to explode. That's it. We're gone. Like that is their everyday. And it's what they think about and think about and think about until they probably get a disease. I mean, thinking negatively for so long creates dis-ease in your body. Like you're going to get sick from that. So bringing it to a happier tone, think about, if you guys heard my story about California, I was really afraid we were going to get like mugged or something bad was going to happen. There was a lot of drunk people and people just stuff in California where I was.
LA. area.
Hollywood was rough at certain times. And I was really scared stuff was gonna happen. And then I told myself, I was like, switch, you need to stop thinking this negative thing. So I started thinking, I didn't know what to think about. So I got this ridiculous idea that I wish people were throwing money out of cars at us. Like, I don't know why that came to my head, but sure, why not? People are just like throwing cash at you while they drive by. Why not? Ridiculous thought. It made me change everything. But like a couple hours later, we found $10 on the sidewalk while we were walking. So, well, did I manifest $10 on the sidewalk?
And they didn't get
I don't
mugged. There
know.
was no mugging or anything
There was no
like that.
muggings or anything. No. I took that $10 and went and bought a beer. So I was like, I like the way this works.
All right.
But it's changing ourselves with us.
And we've talked for a long time.
An hour.
And
Did we
I
do an
hope
hour?
we did.
Thank you so much for joining us for week 11, talking about pre-spell work. And next week will be spell work.
Good night.
See you later.